Welcome everyone. It seems ages since we were last together. Welcome to this special meeting of the Executive, which has been convened to consider one substantive item of business only. My name is Councillor Tony Fairclough, Deputy Leader of the Council and Chair for this meeting of the Executive. The meeting is being held in the Council Chamber at the Berries in Godalming and is being webcast live. The agenda was published on Friday, the 25th of April 2025. 3 supplementary agenda packs have subsequently been published on the 28th and 29th of April and the 1st of May 2025, respectively. Chris, are there any apologies for absence?
Thank you, Chair. Apologies for absence from Councillor Paul Follows and also Councillor Mark Merriweather.
Thank you, Chris. Members, are there any declarations of declarations of intent? I was going to say of independence. Any declarations of interest in matters on the agenda? Excellent. As we know, there is one substantive item on the agenda, and I ask Councillor Townsend to introduce the matter. Thank you.
Thank you. We have the overwhelming recommendation from full council now before us, and it is for 3 unitaries, along with some conditions which are available within the motion that was passed. I won't read it out again. We all recognise that local government in Surrey is at a turning point. The scale of change being proposed is significant. It will determine not just how services are delivered, but how democracy functions across our county for decades to come. And while this debate is formally between local partners today, I'm very conscious that what we say in this room will be of interest to perhaps to government as well. Rightly so, because these decisions will have far-reaching implications for how local voices are represented and how public services are sustained. Let me be clear, and I'm sure I speak for all of us, that we do not oppose reform. Most of us accept that reorganisation is coming, but how we do it on what terms matters deeply. We know the pressures we're under: rising costs, growing demand, and the complex legacy of debt all make the case for change, but urgency cannot be a substitute for good governance. The 2-unitary model currently being considered, the 3-unitary model, it is the 2-unitary model currently being considered may seem administratively neater, but it brings serious risks. And I think tonight the Council have fully discussed those risks and come to the conclusion that's why they believe that a 3-unitary proposal deserves our support. It has been developed collaboratively by the district and boroughs based on local knowledge and existing community ties. It reflects the reality of how people live, travel, work and access services, and is underpinned by functional economic areas, not arbitrary boundaries. The public response that we consulted on reinforces that view. Over 3,300 Surrey residents took part in the consultation and nearly 2/3 favoured a 3-unitary model. Only 17% supported the alternative. I am particularly concerned what centralisation might mean for our towns and parish councils. In areas like Waverley, they are not symbolic. They are active, legitimate voices with real responsibility. We've seen in places like Wiltshire that replacing them with top-down community boards can undermine that legitimacy, duplicate effort and disengage volunteers. Our proposal doesn't reject reform, it enhances it by aligning efficiency with representation. It offers a more balanced approach, combining cost savings with accountability and local identity. And this has been supported by full council. So today I urge this executive to consider the recommendation of full council. And let's be clear in our message to residents and to government that we support the reform which is rooted in real communities and that we are committed to keeping the local in local government. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Townsend. Would anybody else like to speak on the motion before we... Councillor Williams.
Yes, I think we've got a clear choice here. The only argument I think that could be put for the Surrey proposal is that Surrey County Council's two authority model meets population guidelines, and they are only guidelines, and must be weighed against, I think, the strong geographic rationale of the district and borough proposal for 3 local authorities. As I think was clear in the council debate, the idea of having two unitary authorities and one in the west of a single unitary authority stretching from the London fringe, from Ashford and Staines around the sort of Heathrow Airport hub to the rural communities around Hazelmere, Chiddingfold, the rural communities of Frensham and Tilford, really doesn't make sense in terms of local government. And this needs to be local government. Basically, the district and borough scheme more closely follows Surrey's economic clusters. It explicitly links how local services can be integrated and rationalised, and it proposes boundaries that align with local identity much more than the Surrey County Council model. And I think we need to be supporting that very clearly and very unequivocally this evening.
Thank you, Councillor Williams. Would anyone else like to speak? Councillor Mirrlees.
Just about everything's been said in the meeting before this and for that. But I think, the actual clue is in the word devolution. You're devolving it away from a big, large behemoth of a central government to one which is more local. Isn't that the idea? And that can work more effectively. And the idea also is that should work in an area where people will be able to make decisions for themselves. It won't be coming from a central area where people feel that it's an outpost where they have very little to do with. So I think that's the main thing. And I think the other thing that came up as well as Steve was talking about, which Councillor Martin didn't seem to appreciate, that those people who live on the edge of London, and we know London is going to expand further and further. So not only do you have the density of population, but you have a population with greater needs. You also have a place down at the bottom where we are, in Farnham's right at the bottom, and Cranley's a sort of outpost, which would have absolutely nothing in common with them. And I honestly know that where you have greater need, that's where your money goes, that's where your time goes, that's where your effort goes. And I think it's really important that we understand that. Also, the other thing that when people said, well, the government are going to make up their mind anyway, well, that may be. But what would we be doing? Not making any effort to say, well, we've actually decided to go and find out what the local people think. And that's really important that we're seen to be doing that. Not just seen to be, but we care about it enough to do that. So I think it's very important that we recognise that, the people who are listening to this recognise that. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Mirrlees. Anybody else? Councillor Long.
So yeah, this is a significant moment, and I share the concerns of many on the council that we've been asked to prepare our bids too quickly. But I feel much better about the recommendations because we've taken the opportunity to go out and ask the residents, and because we've put the reports before the full council rather than just taking this as an executive decision. So yeah, I'm very much more comfortable with this process having done that, and very much in support of the 3 unitary model with the conditions.
Thank you. I think we're all pretty much agreed that the option of 3 unitaries is not perfect. It's not, as Councillor Beeman said in the council meeting itself, it's not quite how we saw local government reform working for us, and more importantly for our residents. But I think we've agreed, and the council has agreed, that the 3 unitary option is the most sensible one available to us. It is the one that delivers unitaries that, as Councillor Mirrlees has said, recognise local identities. It maintains the three functional economic areas, and it reflects, as Councillor Long reminds us, what our residents have told us they desire. That they desire they desire that local autonomy within their decision making. They want a voice, and we need to give them that voice. And I think the decision to support the three unitary model is the best on that basis alone. So with that in mind, I would like to, Chris, if you could put, if it's not already up there, just a reminder of what the motion that was approved by council was, and paying, as Councillor Hyman reminded us, it might be better if we just took a couple of seconds just to look at it and make sure that we're all agreed on the exact wording of it. So what we are asked to, what the executive is asked to do is to consider the comments of the council, and we have, and noting the concerns expressed above in 2.1 above, in particular, the concerns regarding the condition upon the three factors: the resolution of the significant unsupported debt across the county, the concerns over discretionary spending, and respecting the established autonomy of Waverley's existing town and parish councils. Noting those concerns, the executive is asked to determine the preferred option, which I think we've all agreed is for the establishment of three unitary authorities in Surrey, as set out in Appendix 1 of the proposal put forward by the districts and boroughs. Susan, are you happy with that as a wording particular?
Yes, Chair, I think if we just insert the wording, determine the preferred option to be
Okay.
support for three unitaries.
So we determine, so just to be, for complete clarity, to consider the comments of council and noting the concerns expressed in 2.1 above, determine the preferred option to be for a single tier of local government in Surrey. Is that what you said?
Preferred option of three unitary.
That's what I was going to say, yes.
To be for.
So the preferred option to be for three unitary councils.
Yeah.
In Surrey. In Surrey, so delete. Yeah, support the proposal.
As a single tier. Yeah, forming. Yeah.
Taken the changes, so determine the preferred option
To be three unitary authorities.
forming a single.
I mean, this is where I want to be doing this.
Yeah. Okay, we've got a rogue 4 in there as well. So you've got a rogue B.
I've never seen Gemma so excited about that.
Okay. Right. Susan, happy with the exact wording there? So again, for the absolute avoidance of doubt, the executive is asked to consider the comments of council and, noting the concerns expressed in 2.1 above, determine the preferred option to be three unitary authorities forming a single tier of local government in Surrey, and require the leader of the council to work with partners in Surrey to submit the proposal to the Ministry of Housing, Communities and Local Government by 9th of May 2025. Are we all agreed on that? Agreed. In that case, it's unanimous. Thank you very much. Any other business? In that case, at 20:51, I can close the meeting. Thank you.